Hi everyone, my name is Virginia, aka Gigi,
My name is Victoria.
And this is Mika.
and this is
A
A
Word
Word at the Table. Hey y'all.
So, how's everybody doing?
Doing well. Getting fat.
Or
Yeah, but you're pregnant, so that's okay.
no?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Good. So, I guess.
Mika, there's something in your background.
Oh, it's the cicadas.
So, I'm sitting in my back porch. I have screened-in porch, but you can clearly hear the cicadas and occasionally the crows and birds and maybe a dog here and there. So apologies in advance.
You have like a whole farm over there.
Yeah.
I live in the wilderness. And maybe the wind is coming now.
Oh, wow. You sound like a Disney movie.
Oh my God, I got Pocahontas vibes.
Right.
And like, wake you up in the morning with chirps and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So today we are going to talk about what it means to be kidnapped. But basically, I got inspired because remember when Megan Thee Stallion got shot? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there was this reality show star, Drea. She made this stupid comment. She was like, "Oh, I wish somebody would love me like that. I feel like, they were probably in some lover's tryst." And like she was like turned on by this, she was turned on by this violence. I think people like her equate possessiveness to love or whatever, right? Like almost like if that's why I thought like of kidnap, like when like that Stockholm syndrome, like the person who kidnaps you doesn't necessarily love you. They don't they don't take you because they want you. They take you because they can. It's like a power thing. And like, yeah, so I understand what she said was a joke, but it still romanticizes abuse. And that's why I was just like, oh no, I'm gonna bring this to the table. So what I want to talk, oh God.
I was gonna say, did she compare the situation with Megan and what's his name?
Tory Lane.
Yeah. Did she compare it to Bobby and Whitney?
Maybe. Did she?
I feel like she did.
I want to say she did. I think I remember her saying like, "Oh, that's that Bobby and Whitney love" or something like that. I think she said something like that. Yeah.
Bobby and Whitney love was toxic. Yeah, it lasted a long time, but it was toxic. Okay.
Right. Just because you have longevity doesn't mean that it wasn't wasn't bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together for 14 years. Yes, 14 miserable years. Okay.
Yeah, and why would you even compare? Like, why would you even think that that type of abuse equates to love? Like, what is wrong with you? And I mean, I call her an idiot, but like maybe she just has this type of perception of love. Maybe that's what she grew up around. I don't know, but that girl needs therapy. To think that that's something that you would want, like you want a man to hurt you if you try to leave, is sick.
That's you, yeah.
And if we're being honest, she's not an anomaly. She's not like, this one outlier. And so there are a lot of women that equate possessiveness, like that crazy, like, oh, now you're mine, where you're going, da 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 da. They equate that to love. Like, oh, he can't get enough. Oh, yeah, you need to run. You need to get out. Are you okay?
Right, like blink twice if you need to get out.
So I wanted to, in the natural courses of relationships, relationships are not always perfect. Where does it draw the line between natural anger? Because, if we're talking about this situation, like that particular situation of a man being possessive over you or whatever, right? Where do we draw the line between natural anger that everyone experiences and abuse? Like where You know, where do we draw that line?
I mean,
Clearly some people don't know how to tell the difference. That like this is natural anger and like, girl, he needs therapy, he is abusive.
first of all, I think for one, if you have control issues or issues controlling your anger and you own a gun, like I feel like people who have those issues should not be gun owners. That's one. And two is, if everyone gets angry, but you have to learn to control your anger. You don't act out and react irrationally, because you could have killed me. Because that's a deadly weapon. And if he didn't have a gun, God knows what he would have done instead with that rage. Like, would he have like physically gotten up and like used his hands on her? I don't know. So I think it's just, you draw the line at, I'm angry and I can, people, you can get mad and maybe like raise your voice and things like that. And even that, like, if you're gonna call people out of their names or
which is not okay. No.
It's not appropriate. No. Right, and use abusive language. It's not any better. I think it comes down to, can you, in the moment that you're angry, can you control your anger and not feed into the rage? Which I think, I don't know what Meg and Tory Lanez was like arguing about. I don't know if that came out. But whatever it was, like, it doesn't warrant her getting shot. Nobody deserves that.
Right. And like, it does not matter what they were arguing about. He could have been. I don't even care if they were arguing about the fact that, I don't know, somebody had cancer and Megan was like, so what? Like, you know, like, I'm just trying to think of the most offensive thing somebody could say.
Could have said, I'm sorry.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I just think if it gets physical, like there's no excuse for someone putting their hands on you. No excuse. It's so funny. I was actually watching that marriage boot camp show, and I saw when that guy
that was on my yes, go ahead.
Oh my God, this guy, his name is Vado, and I don't know if you know Tahiri Mika, but she used to date Joe Budden, and they were like on Love and Hip Hop or whatever the case is, but like she's married now, I think, because it's a marriage boot camp show. So her husband literally put his hands on her on TV. Like, she said something that I guess triggered him, and he literally choked her. I was just like in shock, in shock.
And did any of the other men on set do anything? They were like, whoa.
I mean, I don't know if I think it was such a shocking moment. Everybody was like, what? And then someone didn't one of the guys come in?
The host of the show was like, nah, you can't do that. What's wrong with you?
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I didn't watch the show, but I saw the clip. And when I saw it, I was like, how? And I don't know, was it live?
I don't know if that shows. I don't think a show like that can be live.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, like, how do you, in front, because they had an audience too, right?
I see the point you're making, yes.
Yeah, in front of an audience, around other people, this is what you dared do to her. So what do you do when it's just the two of you?
And you saw her reaction, right? Was she disheveled? Was she shocked? Was she surprised? She was like, just like she was like,
Yeah, and she said that he never put his hands on her before, but I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
If somebody were to grab my throat, I would be yelling. I mean, what? That's your mom? What?
Yeah.
That was not the first time. No, she was.
Her reaction was way too calm.
Yes. And also, if you haven't done it, like, whatever she said, I feel like was so, like, I don't know them or anything about either of them or the show, but to me, it wasn't like something like that was so, again, no matter what she said, it should not let your rage take you to the point where you would choke her out in front of the world or just behind closed doors. It's not okay. Like, yeah, that was just like, what? Yeah, it's not the first time. Sorry.
For sure, for sure. And I just think if anyone ever gets physical with you, you gotta run. And I feel like you gotta pick up on those things in small scenarios. Like if you see that he has an anger issue or she has an anger issue, and it's like it's like these little red flags, like you got to pick up on that and just know that this, I can't deal with this, and I have to leave. Like there should be no reason somebody should be getting that upset. And the word says, be slow to anger. So I think it just, that being slow to anger, it just helps you assess the situation. Because like you said, Nika, everybody gets angry. I get angry. Everyone gets angry. But how do you deal with it? And like, how do you think it out before you take action? Like, that's really important. So
that's a level of maturity right there, because like children get angry and throw temper tantrums and, do whatever I want or whatever, right? But like a wise man, like a fully realized, like, adult will be like, all right, I can't just wild out. Like, I feel violated, but let me woosah, breathe and stuff like that. So, and I love the fact that you brought up men or women, because if we're honest, women can be abusive too. That's a little bit more normalized because our punches don't hurt. Like, people downplay our abuse, but it's still wrong. Like, just because like a man's not crying in the corner talking about like, it's still wrong, so abuse doesn't have like a gender, it's just someone who I don't know how to really explain abuse, but like basically they take out their emotions on you in a way that is not okay,
whether it's verbal or physically.
There's so many types of abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, there's sexual abuse, there's so many types. Identify it, realize it's wrong, get out. Okay, don't normalize it. Oh, this is just how we are, this is how he loves me or how she loves me. No, get out. Like this person is not loving you. They have their own trauma that they need to work through, but they're like, taking it out on you or something like that. So I did want to talk about the cycle of abuse, because what people like Drea, or like, well, let's not put names, but like what people who romanticize abuse or abusive behavior, what we don't realize is that it's not always bad. It's not always like that person comes home and it's a dark cloud and stuff like that. You have like the honeymoon phase, and then you have like the build-up phase that we normalize. And then like that abuse phase, like that abusive incident, we kind of push it we push it under the rug, because it's like, oh, he's not always like that. No. Well, let's pay attention to that incident, okay? Like we pay attention to the honeymoon phase. Like the honeymoon phase comes after the abusive incident, because that person is sorry. They're, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me give you this. Let me give you that. They're showing you all the stuff that made you fall in love with them in the first place, or whatever, right? And then you have like the build-up phase where you're like walking on eggshells. We normalize those two parts of the relationship, like this is part of the relationship. And then when the abusive explosion happens, we either like make it seem like it's normal part of a oh, you girl, that's how he gets, da da da, woo woo, or whatever, right? Like we really push that under the rug. Like it's not something that we should, like this is not a red flag to get out. Like we need to get out.
Yeah, it's like we hold on to that one moment of like, oh yeah, we were so in love, and he was so kind. Girl, that was 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. Like, why are you? Like, why are you holding on to that when his pattern is literally, or she is literally being abusive to you? And I just find it interesting that people get kind of addicted to it. Like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, that's actually because I feel like hold on, wait. Because toxicity can be contagious, or whatever, right? Like the way the enemy uses your abuser, abusive people were usually abused. Like they didn't just wake up in the morning like, you know what? I feel like hurting some people. Like no, they were usually abused. And like I feel like like when people say generational curses, I feel like we can put abuse in that, because look at R. Kelly, somebody who sexually abuses people.
Yes.
He was sexually abused or whatever, right? So it's like people who are quote unquote addicted to these abusive relationships, toxicity can be contagious. So it's like you're with somebody who makes you feel either they're financially abusing you, they've taken all your money, or they're like emotionally abusing you, they're making you cry, they're just like a mean person, you know, like they're like getting on you about your weight, or you know, like they're just making you feel it. I don't know how to say it, but it's just like, I'm not saying every relationship needs to be perfect, but it shouldn't get to the point where we normalize hurt, or we associate hurt with like passion or something like that, like oh no, like there's reason to it and stuff like that. So it's like, I feel like the enemy creates these generational curses or whatever, right? So he abuses people so you can be abusive to other people or yourself. Like you're finding other relationships, just like the guy who hurt you like 10 years ago, because you want to be in this cycle. All you know is this cycle. So either you put yourself in abusive relationships, or you then become an abuser. So you continue the cycle.
Yeah, and I think Tahiri said she was in an abusive relationship before.
Yeah,
I remember her saying that.
Wow. No, I mean, I was gonna bring it back to like marriage. I think that, what's the girl's name? Tahiri, or the lady's name?
Mm-hmm.
So she, for example, she's married to this guy. I think that in marriage,
I think it's just dating, honestly. I think marriage boot camp opens it up to like people who are just dating. Because Hazelie's on that show. I know she's gonna like they open it up to anybody. I could be on that show. Anybody could be on that show.
well, but I think in general, like to me, like for me, I'd rather be miserable and single than miserable and in a relationship, or miserable and married. Because if I'm like going through, like, I don't know, an emotional depression or whatever. I don't know if emotional depression is a term. Maybe it is. I don't know. But if I'm going through that, and it's the root cause of it is my relationship, like, why am I in it to make myself suffer? Like, I'd rather just be by myself, figure my emotions out, figure myself out, and just be alone. And if I get into another relationship, I do. If I don't, like, it's fine. I don't know. It's just like, to me, it's not worth sacrificing your personal well-being just for the sake of staying in a marriage or in a long-term relationship. Because I think sometimes some people, they're like, well, I already gave 5 years of my life to this, so you know, why would I start over with somebody else? And that somebody else could just be putting me through the same thing that this guy's putting me through. At least I know what to expect. Like, people make excuses for themselves, but it's really like, you really got to snap out of that mental space, because it's not healthy for you to be in a space like that, whether it's a just like dating relationship, engagement, or marriage. Like, in any instance, I don't think that it's okay.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think man, I almost lost my point. But yeah, I think that you should definitely take the time to, like, if you're in an abusive relationship, I think it's time for you to think about, why are you in this? Like, what about your self-worth or value that you don't appreciate, or like you don't see the value in yourself to be by yourself? Like, what is it about those relationships that you feel like you have to be in it? You know what I mean? Like, do you validate yourself through relationships? Like, do you validate your life by your status in a relationship? You know what I mean? Like, and like you were saying, Mika, it's like, it's better for you to be like lonely and with God than with someone and miserable. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I think it's time that somebody needs to take time to be like, okay, why am I in this relationship and what's the reasoning behind it? And it's like they feel like the reasoning behind it might be out of desperation, or like, you put value in the wrong things, And for some reason, as you guys were talking, I was thinking about the woman at the well. For some reason, I don't know why, but she came in my head. But in that story in the Bible, like she was kind of like good with just having mad husbands. Like I think that was like her fifth husband. Like I'm sorry, the guy she was with wasn't even her husband, but she was just happy with this little
like sleeping around with different different people, and maybe some of them were married to other women.
Mm-hmm. And that's no shade to her. Like obviously, she just needed more like guidance on like where she stood, like she didn't need to be in all those relationships, I guess. But like I felt like she was content with that water. Like, when Jesus came to her and was like, yo, like, you sure you want that water, or do you want this water that's gonna be like everlasting life? Like, and I think a lot of people are just content with their little water. Like, I'm content with being in this relationship, even though I know I'm miserable. And it's like, no, you don't have to be, and you can be okay by yourself. Like, just spend more time with God and try to, talk to him and reveal it, and he'll reveal to you like what it is that you need to work on. Because even in that situation, it was like, he was like, Jesus kind of was like, Jesus is mad blunt. So he was like, go get your husband. And she was like, I don't really have one. And he was like, yeah, I know that's not your man. He was like, he was like, basically like kind of revealing to her like what it is that you're standing on. And I think that you can apply that today. Like, what is it that you need to work on in your life that Jesus can help you with?
I don't know if you're gonna cover this, Vicky, and I'm sorry if I'm interjecting, but I have a question. Like, I think when I think about abusive relationships, there's a victim in there, whether it's the man or the woman, right? And even if, because life in general is full of ups and downs, how do you identify, like, what steps can we highlight some steps that people can take to sort of identify that they are in an abusive relationship? Because sometimes, like, if you're getting punched in the face, you're getting abused. But if it's like the subtleties, or like those little nuance or emotional abuses or financial abuse, and or even sexual abuse sometimes, where like, how do you identify that you're in that toxic relationship?
That is a whole topic on its own, because that is a lot of times I feel like we normalize things that are not okay. Like, I remember when Trump was first running for president, somebody was like, oh yeah, he raped his wife, right? And it was like, oh, but you can't rape your wife. Like that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I feel like we don't even realize like what some boundaries are.
Yeah.
That is a whole topic in itself. Like, I would love to just research
Maybe
what
that's the
like
next
that looks
episode
like.
we should do, like a follow-up of like being how do you know that you're a victim of an abusive relationship?
Like R. Kelly's wife, I think her name's Andrea. She said on the Surviving R. Kelly, like there was one point she got to the point that she was just so depressed, like she felt like she couldn't even take care of her baby, and she was like, something just told her to just look up, how do you know you're in an abusive relationship? And like it was all these series of questions, and she answered like yes to every question. It was kind of like basically like, girl, you're in an abusive relationship. I don't know what she looked up, but I'm assuming there are different things you can use to like know, or like different just different things that can help you to figure that out. But I don't know. I think you also need to know what you'd be okay with tolerating, because maybe something. Let's just say if it's like it's not as excessive of being physically hurt, but let's just say if there's something that I don't know is a deal breaker for me, but not a deal breaker for you. So I think it goes back to again like knowing yourself and the things that you're okay with.
some people are okay with getting hit. Doesn't mean it's okay. You know what
Oh,
I
no,
mean?
no, no. I'm not talking about physical. Not physical.
Or
I mean,
even
like,
like even if like somebody calling you names, I don't know,
but like,
or
okay,
like, body
cheating. Cheating sometimes is
shaming.
a deal breaker for some people. Sometimes it's not.
Yeah, okay. So I guess that's I guess we do need to I guess dive into that in another episode. But I would be
Mhm.
interested in exploring what makes like how do you define that? And for people who where it's not like blatantly obvious, like how do you identify I guess toxicities within a quote unquote normal relationship?
Mm. So I know we talked about like victimhood and stuff like that, but it's not, I feel like sometimes it's not always victimhood when it comes to abusive relationship, especially when it comes to Black women. Like
Mm,
stress built from outside factors. What we need to realize, especially as Black women, it's not our job to alleviate other people's stress. We are not the rehab centers for broken men. Like I feel like a lot of women, we normalize like, oh girl, he's just going through hard times and da 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 woo woo or whatever. Right? And it's like we know that certain things are wrong, but we feel like we can change them. No, it is not your job to change them. And it's like when Kanye was, bugging out and like I saw on Twitter, it was trending, Kanye needs a Black woman and stuff like that. It's so like why are we supposed to like take these broken men and like, do so if you are broken, do not be in a relationship. Fix
yeah.
yourself first. It is okay if you have like, issues that you need to deal with, you need therapy and this, that, and that. You don't need a girl. You don't need a woman. Like, oh, I need a woman to help me with my issue. No, you do not, because all you're gonna do is put her through the ringer. You're gonna take
Yeah.
like years of her life. You're gonna stress her out because she's trying to fix you and stuff like that. For what? I feel like, yes, you do have some women that romanticize abuse, and then there are some women who feel like they can fix the abuse. No,
Yeah,
both
Mhm.
are wrong, you know?
I agree.
Right. I forgot where I saw this quote, but it was like, if you think you can change someone, think about how hard it is for you to change yourself. And it
Mm.
was just like, wow, like there's no way, like only God can do that. Only God can make
Mm.
that change. You can't do it, sis.
God is like, you have to want it first. Like God gives us free will. Like he's not gonna just like zap and change you. Like you have to do the work too, It's like you have to want to change you. It starts with you, like not your girl, not your mom. Nobody else can change you but you.
Yeah, I agree. As you were talking, Vicky, I remembered something I saw. Maybe it was like the Shade Room or something. I don't know. It was talking about that Pastor John Gray.
Ooh,
Did you see? Have you guys
that
seen that?
man, he is hilarious. If I was a writer for the Boondocks, he would be one of my characters because all he does is beat on his wife and be like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah. So I would love, I guess, in our next episode to dive into that.
I had a topic on my list about not false, I don't want to call that man a false prophet, but like, what do we do when our religious leaders fail us? Because they are human and stuff like
Right.
that. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what did this pastor do?
So I think he's cheated on his wife before, I believe, and has
That's all
confessed to
I know.
it. Huh?
That's all every time he's in the news, it's because he's cheating on his wife. That's
Yeah.
all he does.
God.
This latest one was a woman that had screenshots of their text messages back and forth to how like, and not even just text messages. There's incriminating evidence where he's actually on FaceTime with her and she recorded it. Um, and
He's not
he's
even smart.
yeah,
He's
and
not even smart with the
yeah,
cheating.
she's got the receipts. He's complaining about his wife not cooking, and then I think his son is in the backseat of the car, and then and then he asked his son, he's like, whatever, so and so, what do we eat for dinner every day? And the son's like, pizza. and like they're kind of like he's kind of talking in a way of like, oh, you need to cook me dinner type of thing. And it's like, and then the same woman he invited to meet him in Mexico, and this is all during COVID, by the way, and he invited her, I think he invited her to his hotel room or something, wherever he was, and like she never actually took action and followed through, but like you were opening the door to those things. But I don't know, we can dive into that like in another episode. But
I cannot wait.
yeah.
Oh Lord, it's just the fact that he's a pastor. That's so like,
But he's a
oh
man first. No,
God.
people like him, he's a man first. But I'm not even gonna don't get me started because we're gonna get there.
But oh, just to answer a question before, I was looking it up as we were talking, sorry. But about like how to know if you're like in an abusive relationship. I mean, well, I don't know if this would really answer it, but there's like a little pie chart on this like hotline website, and it says it has like power and control in the middle, and it says physical and sexual violence, and in the pie chart it's using threats, using intimidation, and there's explanations for each. I don't want to go into it, but using threats, using intimidation, using emotional abuse, using isolation, minimizing and denying and blaming, using the children, using male privilege, and using economic abuse.
That's
So
funny.
those are some of the things.
That's male privilege, right?
Yeah. Oh, well, treating her like a servant. Oh, like we were just talking about. Just treating her like a servant.
Yeah, I would love to explore that. I think yeah, our next episode we should dive into that, identifying abusive
So
relationships.
on like, oh God, I'm so sorry. So like on the back end, like say if your person got out, you got out, right? You know, beginning of this episode, we were talking about what it means to be kidnapped. Say if you finally got out, you broke free, you know, you're whatever. What is the difference between protecting yourself and then now hating men? Because like, right? Do you see where I'm going with this? All right, 'cause like when you've been through the fire, you've been through a really bad like time, like bad relationship. How do you know when you're just protecting yourself, right? And like, oh girl, you just hate men. You know, you've been through. You're like, where do we draw that line? You know?
Yeah, I feel like when you get out of a traumatic situation, you really have to take time for yourself. Like we live in the microwave technology world where you want everything and answer now to everything, but you really got to take time to like figure out, how did I get into this? How did I contribute to it? Not to say like to make excuses for the kidnapper or the abuser, not at all, but like just to recognize, you know, your vulnerabilities and to position that into like, how do I heal from this? And how do I not project this experience onto other men that I meet? Because everyone's individually different. So you can't generalize this person's response in this situation and say, well, since, you know, so-and-so did this to me in the past, this new guy is gonna do it too. Like, I think that's unfair to the new person. And it doesn't really help in the long run. So I think you just need to take time for self-healing and before jumping into something else, and really like make an effort not to project. And that's easier said than done because we all draw from our past experiences to yeah. So I think it's a difficult thing, but like therapy I think is an area to explore if you've been into like if you've been through a traumatic experience like that. Like put the time in to find a therapist, find somebody to talk to your friends, like, you know, not friends that's gonna judge you or put your business out there, but like good people. Yeah. We have a minute left.
Oh, did you want to add anything?
No, I agree with Mika. I think it's a process, and you can't just like, let yourself heal. That's all. I think it's a process, and you can't just expect to be healed right away. And, I did hear, oh, there's only a minute left, but I did hear that rape victims do actually have an issue with like being around other people. Like they get scared, just like that memory. But like you were saying, Mika, I completely agree with you. Just, giving yourself time to heal.
Yeah.
All right. So to close out, that forgiving spirit in a relationship, like the stages of abuse, when you get to that honeymoon stage, we don't need to forgive him for, like when he comes with the gifts and like I'm sorry that this happened. It's not like, okay, you can forgive him and then still get out. Girl, it's time to get out. You can forgive him and get out because it's not okay. And that's it.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is The Word at the Table.
And next time we'll talk more on abusive relationships.
Yeah, we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
Yup.